in cultural integration, and our group has event in the Namur. This is Thảo, and this is Bùi Anh.
And now we will start with the first part of our forum, which is the written presentation, hosted by Linh.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The theme of our forum today is cultural integration. And after the presentation, the moderator expects you to get the gist of what cultural integration is and how it works. And also, you can differentiate between cultural integration and multiculturalism, and also cultural assimilation. First, let's have a closer look at the outline of my presentation today, which will start with the definition of cultural integration and the 4 stages of this situation, which will be followed by a comparison between cultural integration and other confused terms. So first, let's start with the definition of cultural integration. Cultural integration is a form of cultural exchange in which one group adopts the beliefs, practices, and rituals of another group. This is a healthy intermingling, as the people lose no characteristic of their own culture. I'll give you one example of cultural integration. For McDonald's, this is an American restaurant, and since its invention, it has widened the scale of the restaurants all over the world. Namely, some country where most restaurants centered there. They are Japan, Canada, Germany, the UK, and China. This is how the cuisine and the culinary features of one culture is welcomed by others all over the world. And now we will have a closer look at the 4 stages of cultural adaptation of cultural integration. In 2000, the psychologist Wickerman has discovered 4 distinct stages of cultural integration, namely the honeymoon phase, the crisis period, the adjustment phase, and lastly, the acceptance and adaptation phase. For honeymoon phase, as you can guess from its name, this is where the excitement and fascination to the new culture cover all the quirks of the minor problems and irritations of the new culture. To be more precise, this is the phase where you are enjoying your life to the full. However, this excitement will not last long because it will be followed by the crisis period, or we call it the culture shock. All of the fascination will be replaced by the disappointment because you start to recognize the differences between your own culture and the foreign culture. You usually ask yourself some question like, oh my god, they are not doing like this at home, and how can I do it in this situation in such a new culture? And you start to feel really, really frustrated and worried. However, this negative attitude will soon be replaced by a more positive outlook in the adjustment phase. You start seeing the point that it is pointless to change that culture, and you will learn to adapt yourself to it. For example, when in Vietnam you don't have to queue when you buy when in a bakery or in the bank, but in the foreign culture, you will learn to stand in the line. And lastly, easy acceptance and adaptation phase. Actually, this is when you have a real engagement in the custom and tradition of the foreign culture, or in other words, you are partly or maybe gradually totally integrated into that foreign culture. Next, actually, cultural integration is not a brand new term to people nowadays. However, sometimes we usually mistake it for other confused term. And now I will give you some comparison between cultural integration versus cultural assimilation and cultural integration versus multiculturalism. First, this is the comparison between cultural integration and cultural assimilation. They all have one thing in common, is that they are the situation in which people of one culture adopt the belief, practices, and rituals of another culture. However, in cultural integration, people still manage to maintain the characteristics of their own culture, while in cultural assimilation, the people, the assimilated, surrender and lose the aspect of traditional culture. I'll give you one example of cultural assimilation. In America, the Native American are forced to go to the government-funded boarding school and forbidden to speak their original language, and in the process of assimilation, when the white moved into America, and in 2014, only 145 out of roughly 300 original Native American languages are still spoken. The next will be about the comparison between cultural integration and multiculturalism. Multiculturalism involves the existence of multiple cultural traditions within a nation, and this is possibly applied to cultural integration. However, in cultural integration, people adopt the characteristic of their foreign culture, and they also maintain the characteristic of their traditional culture. However, in multiculturalism, each race abide by the traditional culture, and they, for the most part, exist individually. One successful example of cultural society in the world is Singapore. In Singapore, there are millions of expats, colonizers, foreigners, and 4 official languages, but they all live in perfect harmony and enjoy a high-quality standard of life. This is the end of the leading presentation, and I hope that you get a more profound insight into cultural integration, how it works, and how different it is from other confused terms. Thank you.
So before we move on to the discussion, I'd like to announce the rules and procedures for this forum. Firstly, regarding the position paper, which I have already informed you a few days ago. In this forum, the moderators have required you to prepare a position paper for each team, which is half to 1 page in length. The content includes a brief introduction of the role history concerning the issue of cultural integration, how it affects the roles, and finally, your attitude towards the problem. And after the lit-in presentation, each group will send a representative to deliver a short speech that is about 1 to 1.5 minutes long about your stance on the problem. Secondly, regarding the right of speeches, no representatives must address the forum without having previously obtained permission from the chair. The order of speakers will be decided by the chair also, and if a delegate states something irrelevant to the discussed topic, the chair will call out the speaker. Next, regarding the time limit on the speeches, a time limit will be set for each speaker, and if a delegate exceeds his allotted time, the chair shall call the speaker to order without delay. Furthermore, regarding the points of order, if any of you feel that the chair is not following the rules of procedures or is not sufficiently active in ensuring that everybody are following the procedures, you may rise to a point of order by raising your placard. And during the discussion, if any delegates feel discomfort and feels like which hinders their participation in the forum, they may rise to a point of personal privilege. For maybe example, ask to go out to the bathroom or anything else. And last but not least, if a delegate feels like they wish to adjourn the debate or the discussion, please raise your placard, and your decision will be put to a vote. Thank you. And now we will move on to discussion. Our first question for today is, what specific signs indicate the process of cultural integration in Vietnam? I will give each group 2 minutes to discuss your answer, and then we will decide on the orders. Yes?
So the position number should be announced.
I'm sorry. I'm too nervous that I forgot about that. Before we move on to the first question, I will invite the representative on each team to present their speech. Does any team volunteer to speak first? Please raise your placard if you wish to. Okay, so we will start with Vietnamese youngsters. You'll have 1 to 1.5 minutes to present your position paper.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Our team today consists of 5 members. We have Chu, the artist. We have Veggie, the carefree creatures. We have me, Dan, the dreamers. We have Kiều, the dynamic girls. And we have Tung Linh, who is unfortunately can be here today because of what we like to refer as taking a break from life. We are the representatives of Vietnamese youngsters, the future of Socialist Republic of Vietnam. It is our responsibility to maintain and develop the country that we have inherited from our ancestors. In recent years, rapid global integration of Vietnam has created opportunity for Vietnamese young people to experience different cultures and lifestyle. Together with the nation, Vietnamese youth are becoming more and more aware of the necessity of and the goals of international integration. The process of international integration has gradually penetrated deeper and influence every aspect of our daily life, such as food, clothes, music, social behavior, career orientation, and spending patterns. However, we all agree that there are a few negative impacts in regard of this phenomenon. If we follow the trend passively and fail to preserve our tradition, Vietnamese culture is likely to vanish in the future. We have realized that integration and cultural cooperation should be carried out through understanding and imbibing from the word civilization, and by enriching and preserving the national culture. It is our duty to enthusiastically participate in national action program, enhance our political consciousness, and actively promote Vietnam image and people internationally. We are here today with a view to promoting and preparing our best for integration, which we should embrace, not reject. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Vietnamese youngsters, for your speech. We'd like to invite, overseas Vietnamese to present their position paper.
We are the panel of overseas Vietnamese. On behalf of our panel, I would like to present our history and position concerning the cultural integration. In the age of integration, many countries, including Vietnamese, are at the state of being dissolved and may mislead the custom and mislead the character to the custom and trend from foreign countries. Therefore, to respect and preserve the nature of a country is our great vitality, especially overseas Vietnamese who are directly living and working abroad and bringing the Vietnamese culture to integrate with the countries to which they have migrated to. Concerning our history, overseas Vietnamese are generally divided into 4 categories. The first category consists of people who have been living in territories outside of Vietnam prior to 1975. They usually reside in neighboring countries such as Cambodia, Laos, and China. Also, during French colonialism, many Vietnamese also migrated to France as students or workers. The second category is the vast majority of overseas Vietnamese who fled Vietnam as refugees after the end of Vietnam War, and they usually reside in industrialized countries. Meanwhile, the third category consists of Vietnamese working and studying in the former Soviet bloc who opted to stay there after the Soviet collapse. And the last category consists of recent economic migrants who work in regional Asian countries. This group also includes Vietnamese women who legally marry men from Taiwan or South Korea. Recently, the group of Vietnam citizens studying abroad and then working as permanent residents is considered to be the newest cohort of overseas Vietnamese. Despite the reasons why many Vietnamese fled away, a large number of overseas Vietnamese want to have a good relationship with their homeland. Therefore, they want to connect Vietnam with the world, especially with industrialized countries, and also want to bring fresh perspective to Vietnam's development, especially in economics, technology, and medicine. And moreover, they also want to preserve the core culture of Vietnamese. So therefore, in conclusion, our panel concurs with cultural integration.
Thank you, overseas Vietnamese, and we would now like to invite the economists.
Honorable Chair, distinguished delegates, the delegation of economists is extremely privileged to attend this forum and to have a chance to discuss the impacts and solutions regarding cultural integration. Vietnam has taken part in international integration and fully joined in the globalization process for over 25 years. Most significantly, in 2007, Vietnam became the official member of the World Trade Organization. In the process of global interaction, as of 2017, Vietnam has signed the free trade agreements with 56 countries and economic groups, including the World Trade Organization, Asian Economic Community, and the AU. The delegation of economists agrees that the strengthened cross-cultural contact helps Vietnam expand its market on a larger scale and reinforce the nation's economic status in the global market. Therefore, it should be embraced by synchronized efforts from the government and other relevant bodies within Vietnam's community. Increased competition from globalization stimulates the acceleration of scientific research and technological advances, which in turn represent themselves as the driving force towards more effectively implemented manufacturing processes. Furthermore, globalization fosters Vietnam enterprises' awareness, adaptation, and performance. Affiliation with the flow of international mingling means that Vietnam has entered a large playground for where Vietnamese enterprises have to compete with big foreign corporations with strong financial power and experience. Such pressure forces enterprises, both state-owned and private ones, to restructure and self-improve. So despite certain demerits of cultural integration, including interdependence and low competitiveness of Vietnam, the delegation of economists firmly believes that globalization wields positive impacts on Vietnam's economy. So the delegation is looking forward to a fruitful conference with feasible and sound suggestions proposed.
Thank you, the economists, for your speech. And now, last but not least, would like the social cultural anthropologists to announce their position paper.
To the moderator and other teams, on behalf of our group, I'd like to state our stand on the merit of cultural integrations. As representatives of social cultural anthropologists, our role requires general understanding of cultural integrations and in-depth insight into its advantages and disadvantages, particularly its impacts on the cultural ethnicity of countries around the world. Since the late 19th century, social cultural anthropologists, whether they are writers, explorers, or public intellectuals, aim to unearth the relationships within and between cultures. With the rise of globalization and increasing immigration patterns, cultural integration gradually became the focus of attention among these scholars for its profound influence on each distinct culture and on the society as a whole. From the socio-cultural anthropologist's viewpoint, cultural integration is crucial to the comprehension of cultural change, either positive or negative. On the one hand, we are deeply intrigued by the complexity and the meaningfulness of this phenomenon. Such events as Asia Ethnic Cultural Performance 2016 held in Hong Kong promotes cultural integration and honor different cultures' beauty. On the other hand, the accompanying problems like homogenization are a challenge that needs to be addressed. In conclusion, our group believes that we cannot avoid cultural integrations as it is an inevitable outcome of globalization. However, it should be cautiously practiced in order to preserve national cultural heritage and bring out the benefits from successfully merged cultures. Thank you.
We'd like to thank the 4 teams for expressing their stance, and we hope that you will stand by your stand throughout the discussion to produce a fruitful conference. And now we will finally move on to the discussion questions.
On personal privilege?
Yes?
We need to take out.
Are all 4 teams all set? If yes, we would like to officially begin with the discussion. Our first question is, what specific signs indicate the process of cultural integration in Vietnam? We will give all 4 groups 3 minutes for discussion, after which we will decide on the order of speakers. The time for discussion has elapsed, and now the chair would like to invite representatives from each team to stand up and present their opinion. Is any group willing to go first? Yes, we'd like to invite the economists because you have raised your platforms.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, in terms of the economists, we would like to point out some specific sites indicate the process of country integration in Vietnam. So, Vietnam joined the World Bank, WB, and International Monetary Fund, Asian Development Bank in 1992 and 1993. The years 1995 saw many significant external economic events. Vietnam joined the ASEAN and committed to implement the ASEAN Free Trade Area. Signed a cooperative agreement with the European Union and normalized the relations with the US and applied for WTO membership. So in the 1998, Vietnam officially became a member of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, APEC. And also, Vietnam has signed free trade agreement with 56 countries and economic groups, including the WTO, ASEAN, Australia, New Zealand, the UN, EU, the Eurasian Economic Union, Japan, and the Republic of Korea. So that's our speech.
Thank you, the economists. And now we'd like to invite any of you willing to go session, the overseas Vietnamese, to present their position.
So on the side of overseas Vietnamese, I want to introduce some slides that indicate the process of cultural integration in Vietnam. Firstly, in marriage field, we can see that Vietnamese people are becoming more and more open-minded about marriage. For example, parents become more and more open-minded about their offspring's marriage. They let their children to decide their own marriage. And in Vietnam, actually the law of marriage and family in 2014 has been approved of same-sex marriage, allowing people from the same sex to marry each other. And we can see that people are becoming more open to the single parent child. Besides, in educational field, we can see that more foreign languages are taught in our schools and university. And I think that, and the fact is, schools, teachers and parents apply more
that they learn from the foreign country to teach our children. We learn from Japan, from Germany, and from other countries the positive point of their education philosophy to teach our children, and we have blended teaching in our school. Moreover, we can see the cultural exchange between Vietnamese and Asian Jews. We can see that nowadays there are many, the government has been allowed more cultural exchange from our country and other Asian countries as well as in the world. We join APEC, TTP, WTO, to expand overseas market traders as the economist has said. I think that in musical fields, we can see that the songs in Vietnam has many some foreign words in their songs. So this is some of the signs that we have concluded about the cultural integration in Vietnam.
Thank you, Overseas Vietnam. We will have 4 teams to go first, and then we will go back to your questions. We can now invite Vietnamese youngsters to present your opinion.
On behalf of Vietnamese youngsters, we would like to express our opinions about the signs indicate the process of cultural integration in Vietnam. First of all, we would like to mention education. We agree with the overseas Vietnamese that there are a lot of difference at school, especially in languages teaching. A lot of foreign languages has been added into the curriculum. Also, we would like to discuss about the teaching method. Back in the old days, traditional teacher is going to stay on the board and giving us lectures while the students sit quietly and still in the back of the class to listen to the teacher. But nowadays, the teacher has changed that method. We, the students, became the center of the lesson, and we get to do more exercise, more activities, which encourages our creativity. Moreover, the teacher nowadays, in our opinion, has become more open-minded to our opinions because in the past, they usually the teacher's opinion is usually considered the ultimate decision, and no students are allowed to fight back that decision. But nowadays, they are willing to open their mind and do some more research to clarify the matter and to decide that which is truly the correct answer, theirs or the students'. Another thing is that the student exchange in the way back in the past, there are student exchange programs. However, only Vietnamese students are going to abroad. But nowadays, foreigners also come to Vietnam for homestay programs. Further from education, we would like to discuss about the lifestyles of Vietnamese youngsters, about clothes and food. We noticed that we barely or no longer wear our traditional clothes, which is outside, to for everyday work. We wear more than nice clothes adapted from the Western civilizations. And we don't only eat Vietnamese food. We also eat other countries' food too. And the Vietnamese youngsters are really quick to adapt international trends in these fields. And about living attitude. In the past, Vietnamese youngsters have a tendency to live up to the family's expectation and to serve the family's purpose. But nowadays, we focus more about ourselves, our individual needs, which could encourage the life standard and life satisfaction. And we consider these signs really good signs. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Vietnamese youngsters, for your opinion. We will have social cultural anthropologists to state their stance.
And so, on behalf of social cultural anthropologists, I would like to mention two main changes in the mindset of Vietnamese people during cultural integration regarding the mindset towards traditional festivals and beauty standards. Okay, so the first thing we would like to talk about is the change of what perception about the traditional festival. So traditionally, like holidays like that is a reunion from families and friends, right, and relatives, and we treasure like family reunions and we treasure time with our family. However, in recent years, many youngsters they choose to go enjoy themselves and to go on a holiday far away or even abroad on this special time of the year. And we have a very staggering statistic that in this state holiday 2017, tens of thousands of tourists flock to Sapa during the first and the third day of the Lunar New Year, which tripled the number in the 2014. So I think it is a very noticeable change, and it is not really positive in our opinion. And the second movement I would like to mention is the change of beauty standards. Okay, so traditionally we will consider girls with long hair, but and silky long hair with slender finger and round and joyful face to be beautiful, right? But nowadays, even in like official beauty contest, we treasure women with like European finger, like very curvy and with high cheekbones and sharp like features on the face. So a prime example is Miss Phạm Hương. She is a Miss Universe Vietnam in 2015, and Phạm Hương receives a lot of publicity and attention from the public because of her European-like appearance. And yeah, that's the two main changes that we would like to talk about.
Yes. Thank you. Do the economists have a question?
So the economists would like to address the overseas Vietnamese that the representative has stated that Vietnam has legalized cigarettes, right?
Yes.
So could you cite some sources to corroborate that? Because in fact it hasn't. Only US. In Vietnam in 2014, the law of marriage and family has abolished the category. Oh, sorry, let me check. Yes, it has abolished the term that forbidding marriage from people of the same sex.
But forbidding doesn't mean legalizing.
Yes.
The Vietnamese government hasn't admitted same-sex marriage. It just doesn't ban anymore. The moderators will give the overseas Vietnamese some more time to discuss on their answer. Meanwhile, we'll ask other groups if any of you have a question for other representatives of other teams. Can we have Vietnamese youngsters?
We would like to address questions to socio-cultural.
We would like to address the question to you. Do you think that we should change our beauty standard in order to fit the international standard?
topic you need to discuss among us.
Okay, so we'll let all 4 teams have 2 minutes of discussion on the questions from Vietnamese youngsters. Could you please repeat your question?
My question is, should we change our beauty standard in order to fit the international standard?
We'll have 2 minutes of discussion. The time for discussion has elapsed. To ensure that the forum goes on time, we have decided to set the speaking time at 2 minutes. So we hope that all groups will present their speech in the allotted time. We will now go back to socio-cultural anthropologists for their answer to Vietnamese youngsters' question.
Okay, so on behalf of our panel, I'd like to deliver our answer to Vietnamese youngsters' question regarding our perception towards beauty standards. So as far as we're concerned, beauty standards is not something that we as humans can exert influence on. Like we don't really have the power to change beauty standards because trends go and comes and go, and it really follows a nature, and we really as individuals and as a group we can't really personally change beauty standards. However, we would like to state that the integration of Western beauty into Vietnamese beauty standards is not a negative trend, because beauty is always worth appreciations, and we should embrace changes. However, it is our task to both embrace the changes in one hand, and on the other hand to treasure our features as Asian and as Vietnamese people. Like it is right to treasure the unique beauty of Western people, in a particular people in Asian culture, societies, and Vietnam as a country. However, we shouldn't try to change ourselves, change our Asian features. Like we have round face and small eyes. We shouldn't go to beauty salon to change that. Like we should treasure both the change and integration of foreign beauty standards and our beauty traditionally. So that's our answer to your question.
Thank you, anthropologist. Do the overseas Vietnamese economists and Vietnamese youngsters has any more questions regarding the anthropologist's answer? If no, we will move back to overseas Vietnamese for their qualification for the economist question.
So we are very sorry for using the wrong word. I just say that approve, right? So I'm sorry, it's not legalized or approved. But like what I really mean is like because the law of